part 2 of the rookie quarterback preseason film breakdown. We're going to be taking a look at Bo Nix, Michael Penix, and J.J. McCarthy, despite the fact he is now out for the season. If you do enjoy the content, please consider subscribing. It would be massively appreciated, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We'll start off with Bo Nix, and just to give a brief overview of where I stood on Bo Nix coming out of the draft, I think he'll probably be a good quarterback. I think he might be around for the next 5 years for the Broncos, and I expected him to be good from his rookie season. Would I have taken him in the first round if I was the Broncos? I don't think I would have. I didn't like his processing. I thought he was far too conservative, and I just see the Broncos falling into this trap of being a good enough team to not have a top 10 pick for the next 5 years, but also never getting that much further than a wildcard round in the playoffs. I found this to be quite a concerning start against the Colts. Doesn't throw the ball to this open receiver, but then does lob it into this area with a lurking defender. Doesn't take the open window on this play, but then does make the decision to throw it to a receiver with a DB all over him. This is third down, and I think Bo Nix is actually being more aggressive than I think he needs to be on his processing. He ignores this check down, looking for something further downfield. With the amount of space this back has to run after the catch, I think you absolutely take this read. A DB goes down further downfield, and so this receiver does come open, and to his credit, Bo Nix makes this throw on the run. These next couple of plays is really what I was hoping to see from Bo Nix. He's not doing anything groundbreaking on this play, but throws under pressure with rhythm to an open receiver. And then this is a really impressive throw. It may not look like it because the receiver didn't actually get hands on the ball, but he puts this right where it needs to be. They have a screen blown up, and then this play where, again, I don't understand why he's not taking this read. Escapes the pocket for a first down, but come regular season, you've got to be taking this. I'm not saying this is a wide open opportunity, but I'd quite like to see him drop this underneath so that his receiver can go and get it. Instead, he misunderstands the coverage slightly and checks it down to his back without looking, who is immediately blown up. I didn't hate this as a decision. He's throwing it with timing, understand the leverage his receiver has, and I don't think the receiver runs a very good route, but the decision is fine and the throw is accurate. Shows off some athleticism with this designed run, and then you see how the offense can tick when he's not having to make too many decisions and he's just throwing with timing and rhythm. Not too much available on this play, and so he comes down to this read here. He fumbles the ball and turns it over, but don't worry, they were nice enough to give it back. Throws with a bit more timing on this play, but I'm definitely noticing an over-eagerness to leave the pocket, and I think it's starting to catch up on him with these plays where he's running as he's throwing the ball when he doesn't really need to be. He can hold his ground, set his feet, and give himself much more of an opportunity to make an accurate throw. And this second one is an excellent off-platform throw. He just is making it much more difficult than he needs to be. This is third down and he's under pressure. Maybe this is more of an issue of the play calling, but I don't understand why this deep route is the hot route that he throws to when he's got to get rid of the ball as opposed to this underneath, but that's just a minor thing. Again, this is a phenomenal throw. Why is he forcing himself to make it like this? He can just shift up a little bit, set his feet, make the throw, but instead he's having to make this awkward off-platform throw. But it's great that he's showing his ability to make this sort of throw. Bit of a miscommunication on this play. But then I am seeing glimpses in this game of what I think the Bo Nix project could be. Throws this ball with rhythm and then shows some patience on this read. It's third down, holds his nerve, throws it accurately, but finishes off this game with another couple of rhythm throws. They could certainly be a little bit more accurate, but I'm just really hoping to see him make these simple throws with timing within the rhythm of the offense. My biggest concern is when he starts to overthink his reads and starts not taking opportunities where I can't understand why he isn't taking the opportunity. We move into this game versus the Packers. He didn't get as much action, but his stat line at least appears pretty flawless. A lot more patient to hang in the pocket on this play. He makes a pretty simple throw and then a pretty nice throw with zip on the run. Checks this down and then escapes the pocket on this play, maybe slightly prematurely, but I understand why he does so, and makes a really nice throw off platform on the run. We had a screen and then he was forced to leave the pocket as nothing came open. didn't really have an issue with any of the decision making on this play. You can probably blame his blocker for this one and couldn't get the ball away. This one was excellent to see, stays patient in the pocket, doesn't get antsy and throws an excellent ball with the necessary zip. This one was kind of borderline for me, but the space is there, so I don't mind him running from time to time if he can see a clear opening. And then we finish up with two really impressive throws. This one was probably my favourite Bo Nix throw I've seen so far, and then again shows this sort of sidearmy off-platform ability he has. So that second performance was really impressive. If you can get him to settle down a bit and consistently play within the offense, become a bit of a machine, and then maybe in the next off-season the Broncos add a weapon or two, I'll start getting behind the Bo Nix project. My only issue is that I don't think he's got quite enough to push a mediocre to good team into a true competitor. But a big part of that is the conservativeness. So if they can iron that out, things could get really interesting. Because he's not a completely robotic Kirk Cousins type of quarterback either. He does have a bit of mobility, he has the off-platform thing nailed. So it's going to be a really fun one to watch come the regular season. Moving on to Michael Penix. Why pay Kirk Cousins all that money just to draft a first-round quarterback? Okay, it's out of my system, move on. I felt quite similar about Michael Penix as I did Bo Nix coming out of the draft. I don't expect him to be a bad quarterback, but he didn't blow me away with accuracy, he didn't blow me away with processing. I think that Washington offense was the real deal, and it elevated a lot of the individual players within that system. I think that's why I ended up coming out a bit lower on Rome Odunze and Jalen Polk. There's something about Penix where everyone speaks about his arm talent and how he's got a cannon and all of that, and I've never honestly quite seen it. And I think maybe it's just that in terms of arm strength, I'm more looking for velocity behind the ball. I'm looking for that natural pop when he releases the ball, as opposed to how far he can actually throw the ball, because all of these quarterbacks can throw the ball 60 yards if they need to. However, it does appear to me that when Penix needs to put velocity behind the ball, he has to give it everything. I think his motion is rigid, and I think the ball can come out a little bit flat. So let's get into it. He didn't play a ton in preseason. Surely the least you could do is give him some preseason playing time, as you drafted him in the first round and you've got Kirk Cousins who's going to be playing in a regular season. We'll move on. Starts with this short throw and then misses this one over the top. Makes this accurate short throw with timing, and I really liked him taking this opportunity. It was an accurate ball with pretty good timing. I will just say, as it regards to what I was speaking about a minute ago, this is a ball that Penix knows he needs to throw with velocity, as the receiver's kind of running out of room here. For a ball where he is putting everything into this, it certainly doesn't strike me as a cannon. This was arguably his best throw of the game. Really nice ball with touch and accuracy. This throw was kind of wild. I can't give too many excuses as to why he missed high here, and in the nature he did. But then I enjoyed on this play him getting through his reads and throwing a nice ball down the middle. This was a pretty good effort considering he had a defender in his grill immediately. We had a screen, a quick throw to the sideline. I thought he could have done a better job with this end zone lob. I definitely want him to give his receiver a bit more of an opportunity here. This is a very simple throw, and you want to see him make this much easier for the receiving back. I thought this was really nice work, remaining patient in the pocket and then shuffling his feet and being able to make this off-platform throw. We had this throw to the sideline, which was slightly behind his receiver, quick throw down the middle, and this one was thrown pretty accurate with the right amount of zip and velocity, but the receiver was covered. And that was it for the Michael Penix preseason. Again, I don't understand why you don't give him the reps when you've drafted him in the first round and he's not going to be playing in the regular season. But there you go. I thought that performance was a little bit questionable, if I'm honest. I was slightly higher on Bo Nix than I was on Michael Penix coming out of the draft, and Bo Nix was given much more of an opportunity. However, I have come away from these two performances feeling much more inclined to start thinking about whether this Bo Nix thing could work, as opposed to Michael Penix, who not only is the situation just weird, but I don't see him as a first round talent whatsoever. I think he could become an okay backup in the league, but there's really nothing I see in terms of a franchise quarterback. Now this one might hurt my soul to watch, because I really warmed to J.J. McCarthy. I wasn't sure at first, and then the more I watched, in the lead up to the draft, I ended up having him as my QB3, but he is now, of course, out for the season, which on the bright side opened things up for Sam Darnold, who I think is going to do great things next season. But a couple of thoughts on J.J. McCarthy. I really like his compact motion. I really like the way the ball comes out. I think he throws the ball accurately. However, with him being quite young and not necessarily getting opportunities all the time with Michigan, I think he needs to develop the ability to go through his reads. I didn't see any concerns with his processing, I just didn't see him do it, which is sometimes the gift and the curse of being on a team like Michigan. He started off about as strongly as you could hope for on this first play, receives pressure, doesn't panic, slides up and makes an excellent throw down the middle. He then missed this throw. He's got a defender in his grill, but you'd still probably like to see him making this throw. Now, he threw an interception on this play pretty early in the game, not great for his confidence. Here, I think is the error. I think you can throw this ball now. He waits and stares down the read, and so the DB is able to read where he's going with the ball and make a play. Shows real courage though, coming back and making a really impressive throw as he's being hit. Just a bad play all round here, not really too much criticism on McCarthy. We then have a screen. I'd quite like to see him pull the trigger on this read because I think he does get to it in his progressions. He's under a lot of pressure, it is tight, but it is a window that's coming open. This was a beautiful throw with zip and timing and accuracy. Nothing really happening on this one. It's third down, nothing comes available. This is a play where in theory you'd like him to recognise the situation, recognise the DBs shuffling to make a play on this receiver and moving on to this read here. But for a rookie in his first game of preseason, that's pretty big ask. I think he started to become a bit weary at this point in the game because the lurking Raiders DBs have made some plays. But this is an opportunity and a window I think he would have been taking earlier in the game. Again, fair play to the Raiders. It's going to be interesting to see what Antonio Pierce can do this season because it looks like even in preseason they are all over things here. This isn't the cleanest pocket for McCarthy again on this play, but because his motion's very compact, he's able to make these throws, and this play was brilliant because not only is this an excellent throw with touch and accuracy, but the chemistry he seems to have built up with his receivers already at this point, to know that his receiver is going to be open, very nice play all round. We then had a pretty good throw to the sideline. Recognises that this read isn't open and appropriately gets to this read, but the defense again is all over it. This time generating enough pressure to get to McCarthy, and McCarthy gets away with it as this isn't deemed a fumble. Makes a pretty nice throw with rhythm here and finishes off with a wide open receiver. And unfortunately, that was the last throw of his preseason and apparently the last play of his season overall. Now, hopefully this can be a blessing in disguise. I wasn't particularly worried about J.J. McCarthy as a thrower, so if he can recover and get back to where he was in that sense, he can take this year to develop, settle down into the environment, learn the playbook, learn some things from just sitting and watching the season ahead, and hopefully comes back in year 2 really comfortable with the system and go win some games, because the Minnesota Vikings are a really good situation for McCarthy to be in. So that's all from me. Do make sure to check out part 3 of this series if you're interested, because although Spencer Rattler and Joe Milton aren't necessarily going to get opportunities to start right away, we learned a lot about them in preseason, and I think the Saints is a fragile quarterback situation. I was surprised there wasn't more conversation about them taking a quarterback during the 2024 draft season, and quite honestly, I think the Patriots quarterback situation could become fragile very quickly, but we will discuss all of that in part 3. If you did enjoy the content, please feel free to subscribe. You'd be doing me a huge favour, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.